Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Pitch Talk.
We are fans of football dropping vlogs, videos and podcasts on the beautiful game.
Check out our videos on YouTube and Instagram's IGTV,
including special feature segments, vlogs such as
5 minutes with the G,
the Straight Shootin View,
coaching with JBK,
audio on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Podomatic, Spotify and other podcast platforms.
Join the Pitch Talk revolution on social media, Twitter, Instagram.
We have a group and fan page on Facebook.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I can see you now. I can see you now and then.
Welcome to
the Straight Shootin View.
Hey, what's up, people? Straight Shootin LJA here, and welcome to another episode of the Straight Shootin View. Now, one thing I want to talk about recently is Port Vale against Harrogate Town. I don't usually talk about kind of like League 2 games and that kind of thing, and I mean no disrespect by that. I'm not going to talk about something I don't know about. But one interesting thing that came out of this was the first ever appointed female EFL referee, Rebecca Welch, making history for women in football. And you know what? I am so glad to see this, especially because recently we've done a Pitch Talk special feature, myself and JBK, shout outs to Jamie Bailey, about BAME underrepresentation in women's football. So obviously we've talked about some of the issues that women's football is having right now. But separate to that, it is one of them ones where it is very interesting to see, at long last, a female referee. And apparently the game went very, very well. Rebecca Welch was very impressive and, hey, no complaints. So, a step in the right direction. As much as I don't want to be critical and as much as I don't want to be negative and as much as I'd like to be really happy about this, there is another side to it. And that is just the pure fact that it's sad that it's taken so long for a female appointed official in the men's game for it to happen. I mean, we saw another female official officiate a championship game, but she was a replacement. She was an injury replacement for the last few minutes. So you kind of can't necessarily count that. But it's one of them ones where Port Vale v Harrogate, and it was one of them ones where Rebecca Welch, apparently she had control of the whole game and impressed the assessors that were there. So it's like fair play. But you know what? The one thing that kind of annoys me a bit is that remember Sian Massey-Ellis? She's been a very, very good Lions person, and she's done very well as an official. And remember the controversy in late 2010, early 2011 with Andy Gray and Richard Keys, talking about, oh, if she gets something wrong, Kenny will be furious. And it's one of them was, it seems like those attitudes have not necessarily moved that far forward. Because as I said, this is 2021 now, 10, 11 years later, and we've seen only one female appointed referee, and it was in a League 2 game. Now, I said, no disrespect to League 2, but the fact is it's not the Premier League. But ironically, actually, Rebecca Welch has actually said that Sian Massey-Ellis was actually an inspiration for her. So that's fair play. So at least you can say you're not speculating when you say, oh, she might have been inspired by Sian Massey-Ellis. It's like, no, she actually was. And she's admitted as much. So that's fair play. But I look at it as there needs to be a lot more of this, and it needs to be encouraged. And I'm hoping that Rebecca Welch becoming the EFL's first ever female appointed match referee, is a watershed moment. I really do hope it is a watershed moment, and that we start to see over the next year or 2 or 3 or 5 and 10 a lot more female referees who are qualified and are actually decent referees. I don't want to see this tokenism or stuff done for the sake of it, because that does a lot more harm than good. And I've spoken about that in regards to the Rooney rule, where it's like if you fast track someone into a position based on just the colour of their skin or just because of their gender, then that tends to do more harm than good. So I don't like fast tracking. And for me, it's one of them ones where it's like I'm really, really hoping that this is a watershed moment, and then we can look back at Rebecca Welch, we can look back at Sian Massey-Ellis, and it's one of them ones where we can look back at them and say they were pioneers. They were pioneers. And I'd love to see other women as well breaking down those barriers too. I mean, you look at recently with Emma Hayes getting linked to the AFC Wimbledon job, and as much as there were people saying, oh, she shouldn't be linked to a men's job, oh, this or that, there were a number of people who were saying, well, if anything, she shouldn't take that AFC Wimbledon job, because if anything, it's kind of a step down. So it was kind of funny seeing that. Seeing that kind of spread of comments, for lack of a better term, that unique dichotomy of comments. But I said, I really do hope it is a watershed moment, and it would be tremendous for young women getting into the game, because it's showing that you don't just have to be a player on the pitch. There are other roles that you can fulfill as well. So it's not just one of them ones where it's like, right, your only place is a player and that's it. Because that is a problem for, as I mentioned earlier, about the special feature that myself and JBK did about black and minority ethnic people, especially in the women's game, where it looks like, and also in the men's game too, where it looks like, oh, your only place, your only spot is basically on the pitch. Off the pitch, you're not going to get the time of day. So for me, it's one of them ones where I just look at it as, I hope this is a watershed moment. I partly doubt it, but I hope I'm wrong. This is one of many, many occasions where I've hoped, and I do hope that I am wrong in that regard, where it's like, it's going to be just a token gesture. I would love to see it inspire more women to get into refereeing, to get into being lineswomen or lines people as well. So, Rebecca Welch, congratulations to you for becoming the EFL's first ever female appointed referee. Can't wait to see it happen in the Premier League. Sian Massey-Ellis, keep doing what you're doing. It's one of them ones where it's like you're doing well. So I said, hopefully it's a watershed moment, hopefully it's inspiring, and hopefully it inspires more women and girls to get into other positions, rather than just limiting themselves to being just players. Because there's so much more to football than just playing. Ask JBK, our Pitch Talk co-host, as a coach. It's you could be a coach, you could be a scout. I mean, look at JBK recently made an appearance on the Unorthodox coaching podcast at Pod Unorthodox on Twitter. Shout out to them, where they've got a female coach on there. They've got a male scout on there as well, and they've got a coach as well. So it's one of them ones where it's like there is so much more to football than just being a player. So being a player these days is not the be-all end-all. You could be a physio too. So it is one of them ones where hopefully Rebecca Welch has inspired someone else, like she said that Sian Massey-Ellis inspired her. That would be great. But you know what? I want to know your views. Comment section is below. This has been the Straight Shootin View, youtube.com/pitch talk. See our videos, vlogs, and special feature segments and much more up there. At Pitch Talk on Twitter. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we are up to. We're also at Pitch Talk on Instagram as well. Remember, facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution we are working so hard to create. Also, we are on Podomatic, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're also on Player FM as well. Catch our RSS feed as well. wherever you pick up your podcast, Amazon Music and Audible as well. Deezer, you can also pick up our podcast there as well. Mixcloud.com/Pitch Talk is where you can find all of our old archive material as well, including the old Pitch Talk live shows in audio form as well. So, it is one of them ones. I have been Straight Shootin LJA, and I will see you next time on the Straight Shootin View. Thanks for your time, peeps. Join the Pitch Talk revolution on social media, dropping vlogs, videos, and podcasts on the beautiful game.